The festivities have begun. Diwali 2024 is here, and I couldn't be more excited. Dressed up in all traditional, I'm architect Devanshi Choksi, your podcast host and your go to guide for all things design. Today, I'm sharing something super special to me. I'm going to share with you my thesis journey, my thesis book, and I'm going to show you what exactly did I add in the book, what are the subtopics, what are the chapters, and everything related to drawings and graphics. I have already made a video on how to select your thesis topic, and this is my demo on my thesis topic where I'm going to share my personal book with you. So this thesis, what I had done, is a personal milestone for me because this was the thesis I did post my architecture, and this was a course for advanced interiors, and it was my post graduation. So I have always been intrigued by salons, spas, and commercial interiors in general. So this was one of my ideas wherein I wanted to explore the happiness index of people, the wellness, well-being, the WHO standards for healthy living. All these things I wanted to cover in one thesis. So what can go wrong with a spa? A spa is a relaxing area, and it's going to be a sanctuary for good health, well-being, and happiness. So one thing I learned during my this journey is that presentation matters just as much as the design itself. So in a thesis, there is a research methodology subject, and it's not just about the idea, but it's also how you communicate it visually. So my book should actually be very, very cohesive to what my idea and what my design context is. Now, this is where graphics, designs, diagrams, sketches, and layouts come into play. Cover page also speaks 1,000 words. The font speaks a lot. You know, the way the graphics are used speaks a lot about where you're coming from. Core idea behind my spa design was to create a holistic wellness center through thoughtful space planning and material selection. And I wanted every element from the lighting to the layout to evoke a sense of calm, serene, and a relaxation ambience. There's a certificate, there's a declaration page, and there's an acknowledgement page. Then there are chapters. So every research methodology book is divided into chapters, and then there are sub chapters and questions and FAQs answered accordingly. So these contents are introduction, then you have your history, then you have case studies, you have your site analysis, you have your data collection, you have spatial configurations, you have your design drawings also as part of your thesis, and then you have a set of reference images. So what I believe is that your book should evoke a sense of your topic. It should have a sense of your topic. Say for example, my thesis is a spa. When I spoke about well-being, happiness index of individuals, and there's different kinds of baths, different kind of Chinese baths that I had added in my thesis, what I wanted to research, all these the color palette of whatever your design is and whatever your vision is should totally match your design graphics. Gone are those days wherein we just used to keep our books in black and white. Nowadays a lot of experimentation can be done with regard to graphics, and the software that I have used here is InDesign. And please go and check the video that I have already made on good topic selection for your thesis, and I have attached the link in the description box. So here we are talking about an introduction, what exactly is wellness. Next we have, so what I've done is every thesis, as they say, the most important question is that why. Your why has to be answered much earlier in your thesis. So first of all, the question arises that why do people visit a wellness spa? Why would people come to my spa? The place that I have designed is for the people, and why would they come to visit, and how often would they come to visit is a very, very crucial topic here. If there is no issue, that is, if there is no problem, if there's no issue, why would you make a design thesis on that? Say for example, in this thesis I had taken the issue of corporates, I had taken the issue of mental health, I had taken the issue of happiness index of individuals, I had taken the issue of mental health along with corporates. So I think my idea was to just link the two and design my spa. So these are my why questions. So if you go to see how I have written the why, it has a lot of emphasis on that font, and you see the way the images, graphics and everything goes, so on and so forth. So see, nobody likes to just read a paragraph pointers, but if you see, if it is sort of represented in this way, it becomes much more readable, accessible and easier. So I can just sort of read these headlines and I'm sort of done. Next, every thesis, very important, should have your aim. It should have objectives and goals. It should have an intent. What is the intent of your design? It should have a scope of study. But if you see now, this is something which I just had to write it. But if you go to see the way I have sort of highlighted the important pointers and kept the rest in a second language. Also, if you see what is the font size that I have used, I've used the font size number 12 and I've used 16 and 18 for my headings. uh, Intent, the way these graphics are used, that is, it's sort of cutting the page and it's not letting me have a monotonous feel to this frame. If you see, these all are called icons, they are called as iconography, and they are all available on the internet as png, whatever you want. So all I did was just type spa elements png and this is the result that I got, and almost all of them are covered in my objectives and goals. So sometimes icons speak louder than words, and as a designer this is key. Or next we have a methodology, and please don't take a screenshot of this because this is my personal methodology. So a methodology is something wherein we talk about how I started doing this project, what was the issue that I identified, how did I go to sort of define my research problem, then how did I make a formal proposal, how did I approach my design. Now, according to my design, was there any data and research or some surveys that I had to work on? Next, I stated some assumptions and limitations. There were a few spaces which I couldn't take photographs of. So, that is something which I have mentioned in my list of assumptions and limitations. Then I sort of went to analyzing the data that I have collected so far, and then interpretation and data finding, and of course presentation, which is this book, and then I got the result, which is the book itself and which is the design language itself. So a methodology in your research book is something, the is like a roadmap that you have taken from the start point where you selected your thesis to the end wherein I made this research book. So a methodology is nothing but a process that you are trying to document, and coinciding which, if you see, these are all my pointers which I went through, and below that are the list of activities that I did. Say for example, data collection, so I went to different ergonomic websites, I went through different books to get the data. So what activity I did to work on these topics was the key in my methodology frame. Next, etymology. Etymology is simply where did the word come from, what is wellness and what is spa, where did the word wellness originate from and where did the word spa originate from. And if you see very nicely, I have sort of highlighted what I wanted to highlight out of this paragraph. Yes, paragraphs and information are important, it's an important integral part of your research, but it is not what defines your research. So this is a way in which you can also highlight stuff. You can use some graphics like that, and something like this wherein I'm talking about art, aesthetics, comfort, ergonomics, acoustics. So these were some of the ideas that were popping in my head while I was talking about my design, and these are the things which I wanted to touch before I actually start designing. These were the words that I wanted to like churn. Sometimes just brainstorming a certain things will give you an idea of your concept and your theme which you want for your spa. So I think this is crucial here, that is studying about your mental health, studying about what WHO says about mental health, studying about what WHO tells you about wellness and what it tells you about happiness indexes. So I think the entire idea of this slide was to evoke questions and was to evoke what the facts have to be, what facts have to be cross checked before you actually start your design. Next, mapping of popular Indian spa centers. So there are a lot of spa centers around your city and in India as well. So these are simply a list of spas that I have actually marked on the map, just to give an idea as to how many spa centers are located in cities. So very clearly, as you can see here, there are major wellness centers in metro cities, and which is needed, right? So this was a brief explanation. Without even reading any of this, it's very easy for me to understand the entire picture as to why I'm actually mapping these centers down. And here I talk about mental health in general, and I've given references as much as possible, and they are all given at the end of my research thesis. You can also have like a small asterisk done here, so that you know that the reference image has been attached and the reference has been taken from so and so article. So this statistics on mental illness is also taken from an article. And how so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to prove that mental health and well-being is related to spa. So if a person goes to a spa which is like affordable for him to go, him or her to go, uh, what how is it going to help that person retreat, how is it going to help that person rejuvenate, is something that I'm going to touch here. Next, again, we spoke about a lot of common problems from articles itself, and I've actually like cut snippets from articles and I have put it on my slide, which just gives a justification to my thesis that this is the reason why you need a wellness spa in the city. So for me to just place a wellness spa in the city will not make any sense. I have to prove as to why I want it to be in the city. So if you see all these stats I have gone through, and if you see I've just made like a small conclusions snippet, that is 220 had a global heart outbreak, and there was a growth of the mental and the wellness industry. Then 43% mental wellness was affected. Happiness index decreased over the years. 93% life spent indoors, that was during the COVID era. And this is, yes, the need of the hour factor. So this slide certainly proves why I have taken this research and why do I actually need to design this spa center within the city, like in the center of the city. Why not design it somewhere else? So my idea was to not corporates shouldn't go travel 3 hours to go to some other place. This is what my idea was. And the spa should be very very accessible to them. Even like an hour of spa is going to be great for them, along with nutrition and other counseling sessions as well. All these articles attached, and now if you see in italics here, I have actually written down a few facts from the article itself, and all these articles are attached, the links of these are attached to my references at the end. Again, how does overall male and female well-being affect a mental spa? What is it to have a good sleep? We talk about a little bit about healthy weight cycle, we talk about a balanced diet. So all these things are covered and it is related to my topic. Next, again, if you see these icons, now these icons clearly summarize that these are some things which I want to be able to add in my spa. And these are some of the random ideas which I quickly came up with. Again, if you see, these highlighted points are picked up from journals, are picked up from articles, hence they are highlighted in such a manner, and I've also given the credit to where I have picked them up from. So next, because we studied a lot and we researched a lot, now we come to the idea of biophilia. How is the concept of biophilia perfect for my spa, and what is biophilia? And in conclusion to whatever we have studied, How is biophilia as a concept and theme justified? Also, we talk about what biophilia and what nature has effect on humans. And yes, this is the perfect concept for me to take up for a spa. Next, we spoke about the why, and now we talk about the what. What are the variety of healing methods offered in a wellness spa? What are the different areas that I wanted to look for? So there are n number of techniques. There's acupuncture, there's aromatherapy. There are like different kinds of traditional spa treatments. There are different kind of baths. So baths was one thing which I really wanted to highlight in my spa. Not many bath spas are there in the city, so this is why I wanted one right in the middle of the city, and I've already justified the same through my research. Next, we did a survey. A survey becomes very very important because I've taken like 100 people for this survey. So 100 is a very very good number to start off with, from which 72 were online responses, and the rest 30 I had taken offline responses, wherein I asked people first hand what they want to see in a spa, and asking relevant questions that would you want to have a spa in your city. So this also sort of justifies your topic. Now whenever you do a research in design, topic justification is one of the most important factors that I believe should be a part of your thesis. What would you be comfortable with? Would you be comfortable? So I'm as a designer saying that a pool bath facilities should be available for males and females, but should I ask my my audience, or should I ask the people who are going to actually visit the spa, that would they be comfortable with separate pool bath facilities for males and females? So these answers clearly very nicely justified for me that this is going to be what my thesis will be, and I get a lot of ideas from what people are. So also I have taken a very varied age group. I have taken an age group from like 30 and above, because 30 and above are all corporates. So this was the idea of my thesis, that to take up the age group, select that particular age group, and then go ahead with it. So this is merely a Google form, and it takes like 5 minutes to make. And yeah, we had done it. So what this does is this makes your thesis a very sound and an informed thesis. It's not like aap khayali pulao bana rahe ho. In your head you're like a great designer and you don't know the nitty gritties from the ground level. So I feel the user is the most important. So these were my probable users, and hence I had to take a survey from them actually before designing a thesis or a spa. Next, again, we spoke about location. We spoke about what is appealing in a spa. What are the different ambiances? Do you think a spa can improve mental health? So if you see, 66.7% feel that yes, a spa can improve mental health, and hence this question becomes the basis of my thesis here. Yeah. So next we have history. So now we move on to the next sub chapter. So अब तक खाली introduction चल रहा था. We've actually moved on to the next sub chapter, that is your history, wherein we don't speak about Indian history as well as international history. This is sort of an Indian history where we speak about Ayurveda and how everything came into play. Next, we speak about international history, and while something was going on, internationally, what were we doing at that time? What was India? Where was India at that time? All this is written down in very clear language and in bullet points as well. Next, again, what are the latest spa and wellness trends in the industry? See, the design industry is evolving like every single day. So, to just keep up with that trend is something which is very, very crucial. And this is what I did, because when COVID-19 came, the pandemic came, a lot of things changed, a lot of spa areas were closed down. So what is the latest design trend in the market was very crucial to study. And this is what we exactly did here. We went through like a lot of images, and we went through studying each of them as to how they were different from each other. And we've also done a study detailed in the case study section, but this is just understanding the latest trends in the industry. Next subchapter is our case study analysis, one of the most important chapters in your research thesis book. We've also done a mind blowing video on how to do a case study, wherein I'm actually demonstrating you how that I have done that case study and what are the different parameters that have to be followed for a case study. Next, we did a case study on SAR, pool, and spa. So, uh, okay, a case study, I think all designers are very well aware, but the way in which a case study is done, if you see, I have literally, highlighted some pointers which I find were very crucial. I have actually highlighted the spaces that I am talking about here. Now, this becomes very important because what a lot of people have seen, a lot of thesis books that I've seen, they give an image and the written matter is separate, but I feel the image and the written matter together form the basis of your thesis, and they should coincide with each other. Otherwise there is no point really of doing the thesis till you don't highlight certain factors that you are talking about. Next, I feel every thesis should have a drawing, and I've already mentioned this in my previous video of how to do a case study. We analyze photographs, we write about the photographs right beside the text, and we also sort of color code the diagram to understand what are the different sections within that particular plan. So here I have done like a design breakdown and a design brief breakdown. Next, again, a set of sections, again with the written color palettes, with like photographs alongside with it. These sort of, if you see, these small, pockets sort of become my conclusion and sort of become the basis to what I'm trying to speak here. Next, we have another thesis which I had done. Again, the same format we are following, the one with the white, understanding that this is the theme, this is the courtyard, the central court that I have been talking about in my text. uh, Again, a good photo analysis is going to take you a long way. So I think a case study is all about understanding and breaking down your drawing and highlighting certain parts in your photographs. Again, plan has been divided into two, and how have you, sort of understood the spaces, and how do you make a list of these spaces. So ultimately what you see here, these are going to be your takeaways for your design. So when you are making your design, when you are making your design program, these pointers are going to help you immediately because they are like sort of popping out in your frame. So these are the areas which which you should probably take up in your design as well. And sometimes drawings, like if you see this section, it's such a beautiful section. So if you see the section, this is the way probably I want to also make my sections. So case study becomes a two-way benefit for you because it also tells you and gives you a lot understanding about space planning. It gives you a lot of understanding about the aesthetics you want to follow. It also gives you an idea about what are the different spaces you need in a spa. It also gives you an idea about how to represent and make your drawings in a very professional manner. Again, next we have a spa pavilion. Okay, so your case studies are also divided into various different categories. One is probably your international case studies, some which you are doing domestic, and some which you are doing as allied, which is not necessarily directly related to your topic, but you're still doing it because you probably need some areas which are very specific and some design thoughts which are very specific. Again, same method we are following here. We broke down the design here. Then we have another spa where we are talking about how it was made, what are the different categories. Now if you see this case study, the drawing itself speaks 1,000 words. The way I have highlighted these different zones within my site, yes, this is a very big site wherein it's more of architectural than interior design, but I still did it any which ways. Also, the way I have color coded this, and I have understood that what image comes above what. So this was not set like this. It was just like a book in which there were different sections. Now I have understood the case study and placed all these exactly one below it, so that it becomes very easy to relate that something, this yoga and meditation center was actually inspired from the Buddhist Chaitya. So this entire series was actually sort of composed by me just to understand the spa and the areas in detail. So these are some of the functional case studies, some model diagrams, some disintegrated diagrams. Again, these are not mine, and but the way I have represented and I have broken down and understood it is what is important and worth seeing in this slide. Again, color coding and numbering is done by me. If you see, this is a very very good design breakdown, wherein we spoke about the green areas within the site. So this clearly shows that your spa should be connected to nature. So here I am talking about biophilia as my concept. So I think biophilia sits perfectly here because most of the case studies we saw were very nature oriented. So this just proves that I'm going in the right way. And if you see, wherever possible, I have not missed out on the different areas that the plan has been divided into. So because this is going to form the basis of my design program, and I have not not studied about the aesthetics and the type of materials that are used in every case study that I have done. Again, very similar process of design breaking down. See, now very simply here, because if I would have just added the color, maybe I couldn't see what is below. So here what we've done is we've done sort of this bar representation, wherein we've given just colorful bars, and we've spoken about which areas are located within that particular section. So this is also a way in which you can represent if you don't want to like completely color the plan or highlight the plan, and hide away the drawing quality of that plan. um, Again, similarly here, it is an international case study which I did. It was a very fairly larger case study, and this was very much related to what I have done because they had like a lot of kinds of baths. So this is something which I had taken inspiration from to do my thesis. So ultimately, whatever you like from your case study, everything has to be concluded in a very very specific and clear manner as to these are the pointers which you like about your case study, and these are the pointers which you want to pick up. So I think highlighting here becomes key. Next, we have our site analysis, wherein we have now selected a site within the city and we are going to sort of justify it. तो अब तक तो हम अपना खाली topic justify कर रहे थे, and then we sort of study the topic through different case studies. But now what we are going to do here is do a site analysis and now justify why this site is perfect for our design. Again, a very very I think a very straightforward site analysis is in one slide you can see almost everything. So if you see, this is an approved as built drawing of your site. Now this is the site grid. Now this is going to be my other site amenities which are a part of my site. So my site is not a standalone site, it has a context, it has an immediate context. आजू बाजू साइड के भी कुछ और बिल्डिंग्स है, कुछ और ट्रीज है, कुछ और अदर एमिनिटीज है. इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ अ बिगर सोसाइटी and it's a part of a bigger complex. So this is the way in which I have written it down. Contextual mapping, that is your site context mapping. Where is my site located? What are the different areas which are closest to my site? So I want a lot of business centers to be closer to my site because that's my target. I want a lot of spa star, 5-star hotels which are going to be the part of my thesis. I want a few healthcare facilities right nearby. I want a big retail outlets to be very close to my site. Why? Because retail, there are a lot of clients and customers going in and out of retail, and they are could be probably my users, and that user is going to be my target. So these are some of the way, and transportation accessibility in general again has to be a part of your site analysis. So if you see where my site is located and what is the context of my site, so these are like a series of maps, like one by one you go from a macro level to like a mid level, then you go from macro to then you go from micro, wherein you're studying each and every amenity in detail. Again, a very very good. So this white thing what you see is my existing site, wherein there are certain areas which they have divided, but this is not what I want, right? But this is just the site that I have picked up. But if you see, the entire context is very clearly shown that it has a jogging track, it has different amenities, it is covered in greens, it is surrounded by greens. I think that you could see like here also, because it's a Piramal Aranya site. So Aranya clearly means forest. So I think this also, could be one of my ideas. Uh, the idea of taking your site as close to possible as to nature and within the city. It was a hard time finding this site, but thanks to Piramal, Aranya, and their catalog and brochures that are available online, I could go through with these theses. So yeah, basically giving credit to them. Next, we sort of add a lot of facilities again. So these are the facilities which I need not add again to my spa area. They are already located. So all I have to concentrate now is making the treatment areas and making the baths individually and dividing the spaces naturally. Next, we sort of jump, your site analysis is done, it is justified. Next, we sort of jump to data collection. Now, what is the different, ergonomics of furniture, and what are the different accessories and quality of furniture that I require in my spa? What are the different dimensions and measurements that a spa furniture comes into? If you see, we've selected a few furniture pieces for ourselves, and each of them have their own list of specifications, their dimensions, and their product descriptions. So all these have to be a part of your thesis, because this is where you will actually start designing. Again, length, breadth, height, different spa accessories. You can go ahead and put in as many as you want, as many as you can find on the internet, because these will sort of help you interior style the space. So when you're making your 3D, these are going to be your inspiration. So why not just put them in your book, so that this book becomes like a one shot reference guide for your thesis when you are designing. Again, we speak of different product dimensions, like what is the minimum size of a sauna, what is the minimum size of a steam, what is the minimum size of a bathtub, what is the minimum size of your whirlpool and your river stone baths. So when you are designing, you need not go back and forth finding and researching on different product dimensions and different makes and finishes. What you have done is you have literally collected all of them and compiled it properly, so that you are not forgetting anything, and at the same time it becomes like a ready reference for you, and you don't need to Google again and again. uh, okay, so we had a few raised floors which we put in our design, and hence we spoke of where you can find raised floors and what company offers raised floors, and these are the diagrams which they had on their website. Again, the references have been all given at the end of the book, so you should always mention where you're picking up all your stuff from. Again, spatial requirements for your wellness centers. So I think on in your case studies, everything was very haphazard, because every case study had different requirements. So what we are doing here is we are like summing down and concluding your list of requirements, that what are the different areas and what is the importance of signage in areas, and how do you exactly design a sauna spa. So I think this entire data has to be as it is. You cannot like really change or represent it in a different way. All you can do is basically add a few imagery, so that you don't make your frame a little boring. But I think more or less it's just about putting down information here and then going ahead. This just shows that you have read your work well, and that you are on track and ready to design and take the next step. Again, the list is a sort of a bigger list. We have spatial requirements, discomfort. What about the lighting? What about the different signages? What are the requirements, do's and don'ts requirements of a spa area? What are the different benefits of good designing? What could be vital in designing a wellness center? So yeah, so on and so forth. We have done quite a bit research on how well you can design a good functional and an aesthetic spa. Next, we have spatial configuration, where we now jump to a, our own thesis, that is our own design program, our own brief, wherein we have summarized what exactly do we want in our spa according to the space that we've got to design. See, if we have, say, for example, 5,000 square feet of space, you cannot add everything within that space. So, what is it that you want to add? What is it that you want to subtract? Is a decision that you have to make in your spatial configuration, wherein you are talking about your design brief. You're talking about what percentage is sort of given to what kind of area within your design. So here we speak about your entire area schedule in square footage, in meter square. I've done it in meter square. So this will result to how much area of total carpet area of design, that you have taken 10,800 square feet of area, and these are the different areas which I have come up with. All this is actually from the part which is already done. That is, it all comes down from your spatial requirements, it all comes down from your case studies. It's not something that is available on the internet. It's just that you have understood your topic really well, and now you have summarized it, that this is going to be my area program, and you are ready to pitch. Next, again, design drawings. So design drawings are done in the later semester, but I have still added the design drawings to my research book, just as an idea. Again, I have given the entire design program as to what are the different areas within my spa, and this is just a rendered plan which I have sort of given out. So if you see, I've also given a key plan wherein it shows the site context with regard to what my design is. So if you would, have a look, this is a very subtle, a render done. And we'll talk about renderings in some other video. Definitely, I'll teach you how I have done this plan in rendering. But make sure you comment in the box that you really want to go ahead and check this rendering out. I can actually show you how I rendered this entire plan on Photoshop. Next, we have list of sections. Now these sections, if you see, I will definitely would love to share with you the way I had came up with these sections, and the way I have done this, represented them on Photoshop. Really love for you to write down in the comment section that you really want to see this video, and yes, I will soon make a video on it. Next, we talk about references. This is one of the last slides where we speak about the different articles, blogs, books that I referred before actually going through this thesis. So yeah, this is my time, and this is architect Devanshi Choksi signing off. So you better go ahead and watch this entire video, take inspiration, pick up your thesis, and there are a couple of videos that I've already made on thesis, be it case study or be it how to select a topic. I'm also going to make a video on how you can come ahead and come up with these kind of design drawings on Photoshop. So comment yes in the section, and I will come back to you next Friday. Also, do check out the podcast video, subscribe to the channel, never miss another update on us. And we also have a beautiful guest coming next week. So stay tuned for the serial design.